Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Jesus Christ. Imagine a world where everyone followed just one rule, a single guideline that, if universally applied, would completely transform our society. Think about the power this rule would have to change lives, heal relationships, and even resolve global conflicts. Today we're going to explore this revolutionary rule that has the potential to redefine how we live and interact with each other. And I promise that by the end of this video, you'll have a new perspective on how this simple rule can be the key to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. Welcome to a journey of self-discovery and transformation. We're about to dive into the concept of just one rule, a principle so powerful that it has the potential to change the world, starting with you. But before we reveal this rule, let's reflect for a moment. How many times have you felt overwhelmed by the countless rules, laws, and expectations of society? It seems like every day there are new norms to follow, right? What if I told you there's a single rule that, if faithfully followed, would make all others practically unnecessary? This rule isn't new. In fact, it's been around for millennia and has been taught by some of the brightest minds and most compassionate hearts in history. Philosophers, spiritual leaders, and revolutionary thinkers have echoed this message through the ages. But somehow, amidst the chaos of modern life, we've lost sight of its simplicity and transformative power. The rule we're about to explore is known by many names: the Golden Rule, the principle of reciprocity, the foundation of ethics. But at its core, it can be summed up in a single sentence: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Almost too obvious. But don't be fooled by its apparent simplicity. This rule, when truly understood and applied, has the power to revolutionize every aspect of our lives. Think for a moment. What would the world be like if we all lived by this rule? Imagine waking up in a society where every person treated others exactly as they'd like to be treated. Conflicts would drastically decrease, compassion would flourish, and harmony would become the norm, not the exception. But why is this rule so powerful? Why have so many great thinkers throughout history considered it the fundamental pillar of morality and ethics? The answer lies in its universality and its ability to transcend cultures, religions, and ideologies. No matter your origin, beliefs, or social status, we all share the basic desire to be treated with respect, kindness, and consideration. Confucius, the great Chinese philosopher, expressed a version of this rule centuries before Christ: do not do to others what you do not want done to yourself. This negative formulation of the rule emphasizes the importance of avoiding harm, a fundamental principle in many ethical traditions. In Buddhism, we find a similar sentiment: hurt not others in ways that you yourself would find hurtful. This version reminds us of our fundamental interconnectedness and the importance of empathy in our interactions. Judaism also embraces this principle. In the Talmud, we find the story of Rabbi Hillel, who was challenged to teach the entire Torah while standing on one foot. His response: what is hateful to you, do not do to your neighbor. This is the whole Torah. The rest is commentary. Go and study it. And of course, in Christianity, Jesus Christ elevated this rule to the status of divine commandment, instructing his followers to love their neighbors as themselves. But the power of this rule isn't limited to the religious or philosophical realm. It has profound practical implications for our daily lives and for society as a whole. Imagine applying this rule in your workplace. What if all colleagues, bosses, and subordinates treated each other exactly as they'd like to be treated? Productivity would increase, stress would decrease, and the work environment would become a place of collaboration and mutual respect. And in personal relationships, if we consistently applied this rule in our interactions with family members, friends, and partners, we'd see a radical transformation. Conflicts would be resolved more easily, communication would become clearer and more compassionate, and emotional bonds would strengthen. But let's go beyond the personal and consider the global implications of this rule. If world leaders adopted it as a guiding principle in international negotiations, how different would the geopolitical landscape be? Wars could be avoided, humanitarian crises addressed with more urgency and compassion, and global cooperation would become the norm, not the exception. However, it's important to recognize that living by this rule isn't always easy. It requires a level of self-awareness and empathy that can be challenging to cultivate, especially in stressful or conflicting situations. So, how can we start incorporating this rule into our lives more consistently? The first step is self-awareness. Before we can treat others as we'd like to be treated, we need to deeply understand what we value and how we want to be treated. This requires honest introspection and a commitment to self-knowledge. Ask yourself, how would I like to be treated in different situations? What makes me feel respected, valued, and understood? What actions from others make me feel hurt or disrespected? Once we have a clear understanding of our own needs and desires, we can begin to apply that understanding in our interactions with others. The next step is cultivating empathy. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to understand and share their feelings. It's the crucial link between ourselves and others, allowing us to apply the golden rule genuinely and effectively. To develop empathy, we can practice active listening. This means listening not just to the words people say, but also trying to understand the emotions and intentions behind them. It means suspending our judgment and really trying to see the world through the other person's eyes. We can also actively seek experiences that expose us to different perspectives and ways of life. Reading books by authors from different cultures, traveling to new places, even virtually, or simply conversing with people from different backgrounds can broaden our understanding of the human experience and increase our capacity for empathy. Another crucial aspect of living by the golden rule is the practice of forgiveness. We all make mistakes and sometimes treat others in ways we wouldn't want to be treated. When this happens, it's important to recognize our error, sincerely apologize, and make a conscious effort to do better in the future. Similarly, when others treat us poorly, practicing forgiveness not only frees us from the weight of resentment, but also creates space for healing and growth in our relationships. The Greek philosopher Plato said, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle." This quote reminds us of the importance of compassion and understanding in our daily interactions. Living by the golden rule also requires courage. Sometimes, treating others as we'd like to be treated means going against the grain, standing up for what's right even when it's difficult or unpopular. It might mean speaking up in defense of someone who's being mistreated, even when it would be easier to remain silent. Martin Luther King Jr., they're one of the greatest advocates for non-violence and social justice, said, "Cowardice asks the question, is it safe? Expediency asks the question, is it politic? Vanity asks the question, is it popular? But conscience asks the question, is it right?" And there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe nor politic nor popular, but one must take it because it is right. These words remind us that living by the golden rule isn't just about being nice or avoiding conflict. It's about doing what's right, even when it's hard. Now, you might be wondering, all of this sounds wonderful, but is it really possible to live like this in the real world, with all the pressures and challenges we face daily? The answer is yes, it's possible, but it requires practice, patience, and perseverance. Like any valuable skill, living by the golden rule is something we get better at with time and consistent practice. Start small. Choose one area of your life where you can begin to apply this rule more consciously. It could be in your interactions with your family, with your co-workers, or even with strangers you encounter in your day-to-day life. Pay attention to your actions and words. Before you speak or act, pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this how I'd want to be treated in this situation? If the answer is no, reconsider your approach. Remember also that living by the golden rule doesn't mean being a doormat for others to walk on. Treating others as you'd like to be treated includes setting healthy boundaries and communicating your needs in a clear and respectful manner. As you begin to live more consciously by this rule, you may notice subtle but significant changes in your life. Your relationships might become more harmonious. You might feel more at peace with yourself, and you might start to see the world in a different, more compassionate and connected way. But the impact doesn't stop with you. When we live by the golden rule, we create a positive ripple effect. Our actions inspire others to act with more kindness and consideration. We create a virtuous cycle of positivity that can spread far beyond our immediate interactions. Imagine the collective power if each of us committed to living by this rule. The potential for transformation is truly limitless. The writer Leo Tolstoy once said, "Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself." The beauty of the Golden Rule is that it allows us to do both. By changing ourselves, we change the world around us. So, I challenge you. Start today. Start now. Choose to live by the Golden Rule. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Be the change you want to see in the world. Remember, it's not about perfection. There will be times when you fail, times when it's difficult to live up to this ideal. But every effort counts. Every act of kindness, every gentle word, every gesture of consideration makes a difference. And as you practice, you'll discover that living by the Golden Rule isn't just about how you treat others. It's about who you become in the process. It's about cultivating the best in yourself and inspiring the best in others. Are you ready to accept this challenge? Are you ready to see how one simple rule can transform your life and the world around you? If you've watched this far, share in the comments. I commit to treating others as I would like to be treated. This small act of public commitment can be the first step in your journey of transformation. Remember, change starts with you. Change starts now, and it all begins with just one rule. Thank you for embarking on this journey of self-discovery and transformation with us. Keep exploring, keep growing, and keep spreading kindness throughout the world. Until next time.